Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Libra solar eclipse reading. Um, so this Libra solar eclipse that we are going to see next Saturday on October 14th. There's a lot that's happening this week to lead us up to that. And you may find in a lot of ways that this eclipse is clearing out spaces for you in areas of relationships. One of the biggest human, excuse me, one of the biggest human conflicts is relationships. And the axis, the Aries and Libra, the first house and the seventh house axis, shines in a really big way when it comes to humans and their relationships. Aries is the I am, it talks about the self. And Libra is just opposite of Aries, where it talks about the people that we're connected with, the ones that we're the closest with in our lives and in our just in our like closest inner circle, basically. And we can also find like business partners in Libra, the seventh house. And so, depending on where Libra is in your chart, the energies leading up to the solar eclipse on Saturday, and I'm going to show you the chart here in a minute, but the energies that are leading up to the solar eclipse on Saturday are showing you where there are shortcomings when it comes to yourself and how you feel towards other people, and any shortcomings in relationships that you have with other people. Things may be triggered in really loud and really obnoxious ways. And it's all in an effort to show you what's holding you back and what's restricting you. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus ingresses Virgo today. While I'm doing this reading, we have Venus ingressing Virgo today. So this eclipse and the Taurus eclipse that we'll see on October 28th are both ruled by Venus and Virgo. And Venus in Virgo also has Lilith conjunct in a very tight conjunction with Venus right now in Virgo. So we're going to look at all of that and see what it looks like for the Libra solar eclipse on Saturday. October is going to be a busy month, and you're probably already recognizing that. So if you would like to get all of your transits for your rising sign and your sun sign to see where this energy of October might be affecting you a little bit more directly, and all of your tarot readings, you can find all of that on the Love and Science Patreon. And we also have classes in the second universe tier with Paige and Sam, our Love and Science teachers, and me as well. We would love to have you. That's the best and the easiest way to support us now. I also have my calendar open, and all my readings are available. Solar returns, astrology readings. I do have my 6-month reading, January through June, tarot predictions for 2024 available for pre-sale. So if you would like to get a pre-sale in October, you can also get December energies. That's a really popular reading because it's super accurate. I don't normally do prediction readings. That's the only reading that I offer that's predictive, other than maybe a solar return reading as well. That's predictive. But when it comes to tarot, the 6-month reading is really the reading that the only predictive reading that I have. And it's pretty accurate. So people keep on asking for it to come back, and it's back for another year. So take advantage of that. Okay, so this week, we have Mars square Pluto. We will have Pluto turn direct in just a couple days on the 10th, on Tuesday. And Pluto is turning direct in Capricorn. Now, Pluto was in Aquarius earlier this year and then retrograded back into Capricorn for another few months. And Pluto will be in Aquarius again in January of 2024. And I'll be doing a reading for that on Patreon as well. But right now, Pluto is still in Capricorn, and we're at those last final fated degrees, is what astrology likes to call it. The 27th, the 28th, and the 29th degree of Capricorn. And with Mars square Pluto right now, you can see that there's a lot of aggression and a lot of war going on. There was a similar alignment that happened earlier this year when the Ukraine war broke out. So yeah, so there's just it's aggressive. This is an angry week that we're coming up against. There's a lot of, the sun is going to be opposite Chiron. And then even during the eclipse time, we will have Mercury opposite Chiron. Let's take a look at the eclipse chart for Saturday. So October 14th, we have the total solar eclipse, 11:55 a.m. Mountain Time, which means it'll be 1:55 p.m. Eastern Time and 10:55 a.m. Pacific Time. Sorry, I was trying to think, like, I haven't heard if we can see the eclipse anywhere here. Like, I don't watch the news or anything, and I'm not really big on, like, I haven't really Googled it or researched it, so I don't know. But if you can see the eclipse, it's going to be really cool. The Great American Eclipse from 2017, I don't know if you guys remember that, in Leo, where we had, like, literally it was a total solar eclipse, and it like turned day into night. Like, literally all the street lights went on that day too. That would be really cool to witness that again. But this is like that. Even if we don't see it, same thing, right? We're still going to get a total solar eclipse, a ring of fire, if you will, out of this Libra eclipse that is ruled by Venus and Virgo up here. And Venus is still opposite Saturn, loosely, 5 degrees opposite Saturn. Still there though. And Venus opposite Saturn this week, this whole week, is going to be really hard on you. Venus is or Virgo is already a pretty, really like to beat yourself up. Virgos are really hard on themselves. And so opposing Saturn in Pisces is going to make this week leading up to the lunar eclipse a little bit more difficult. Just be sure that you're not beating yourself up. Be sure that those words that you're saying to yourself are more empowering and not so critical and mean. I mean, I don't know. Virgo, Venus and Virgo can be very selfless and can be of service to other people. But if you're not acting right, they're going to tell you. Kind of in a Virgo and Venus is very 90s romantic emo dramedy. So watch your 90s romantic movies this month while Venus is in Virgo. And this week might even be good to kind of remind you of, like, that blah, that meh. They want to be recognized so badly, and they're just not. They're never seen for who they really are. Okay, so we have all of this really loud, angry red energy going on. So these are all oppositions. We can see the eclipse happening here, right by the south node. Mars is still on the south node, you guys, loosely conjunct the south node. On October 4th, we had a Mars conjunct the south node. That was really, really hard. But during this eclipse, you could really be beating yourself up in a big way. And if you're beating yourself up in a big way, you could also have arguments with other people and trigger arguments with other people. We have Mercury here, where the eclipse is also loosely conjoined by Mercury, opposite Chiron at 17 degrees down here, retrograde in Aries. I've done the astrology for the rest of the year, and October is really loosening the reins for all of us. If it's not meant to last through these eclipses, it won't. And you'll see it through all of the restrictions. I want to remind everybody that Saturn is exalted in Libra. And even though Saturn is in a precarious position in Pisces right now, it's still exalted in Libra. And there's a lot of karmic activity and eclipses bring karmic activity anyways. So this is going to be an extra karmic eclipse. And when I say that, I mean it will be very revealing. It's going to show relationships that just are not meant to stand the test of time. And they're, you know, if you are in a relationship and you guys aren't growing together and it feels really restrictive and you don't feel like you have a voice and you guys are constantly arguing and constantly arguing, this eclipse season, with both being ruled by Venus in Virgo is not going to stay with someone that isn't right for them. And the funny thing is a Venus in Virgo will attempt to help, right? And like they want to be of service. They want to see you being at your best quality. And so if the relationship that you're in is not bringing out your best and it's not your best quality, then it may end. That's not going to be for everybody, but it will be for some people. Also, if you're not in a relationship, this may be that time in your existence where you're kind of being hard on yourself for not being in a relationship. So my advice for this week and really leading up to the eclipse season, or leading up to the eclipse on Saturday and really just all of October, is to keep coming back to yourself. Like keep re-empowering yourself, keep clearing out the spaces so that you can create better and you can create more. You want to make room for the right relationship to be in your life. And even all of those egoic tendencies that happen inside of us are going to be kind of rattling around. And you could easily beat yourself up through this process if you wanted to, or you could just allow yourself to make changes. And some of that is that inner dialogue. Mercury in Libra will be conjoining the sun in a cazimi a couple of days after this Libra eclipse, and will kind of be turning the tide on a lot of stuff and giving you this forward push in momentum after you've made room, right? There's all this room that we're making with the eclipse. We're making space to balance out our lives and creating opportunities for us to move forward. And other humans help us to create those opportunities as well. The Mercury cazimi is going to start really pushing projects along. It's funny because ever since Mercury has been in Libra, it's felt like it was in retrograde. I don't know what that means. I don't know why, but it's felt like there's been like nothing has been working, right? There's been a lot of bumps in the road with technology and all of that stuff, you know, even after the post shadow period of that retrograde. So, if that continues for you, I wouldn't be surprised. Technology is a little weird right now. But yeah, if you want to have discussions right now, make sure that you plan them, because they could go very wrong. They could end up just being ego arguments instead of discussions. There's a lot of aggression that's happening in the world right now. Like I said in the beginning of this video, there's a lot of aggression that's happening in the world right now. And I would really I'm not someone that likes to talk about the mundane aspects of astrology and what's going on in the world, or predict what's going to happen. But I do feel like something big and major is about to take place. Not as a doomsday thing, but just as a rearranging of sorts in the world that we're in right now. We definitely could use some rearranging going on with the way with the way everything is happening. Like it's tough. It's tough. So let it wash away. Let this Libra eclipse take it all away. Don't get into arguments. Focus, focus, focus. It's going to be hard to stay focused and not be distracted. I've talked about that quite a bit. Just because the South Node is in Libra and it's Libra season, it's going to be very distracting and it's going to be very hard to focus. So deep breaths and let things fall where they're supposed to and let things land where they're supposed to. Okay? Give me 1 second here. Okay, let's get some cards for this for this eclipse. Let's see what it is that we are surrendering with the power of surrender. What is it that we as a collective need to surrender for this Libra eclipse? Okay. Oh, nice. Surrender, denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. I think the lead up to this eclipse is probably going to be a lot more difficult than the actual day of the eclipse. But the thing that this is exactly what I was talking about, those things that are not working in your life, the things that are just, it's like over and over and over again, there's this thing that keeps on, testing you and restricting you, and like whatever it is that's just not working in your life is going to be made really, really apparent in this coming week. And allowing yourself to look at this and be like, acknowledge, right? Like, I got to acknowledge what's going on. I have to acknowledge what's going on. There's no way that I can deny this anymore of what's happening. So let's see. What is going on for the eclipse? Oh, wow. Okay. So we start off with the Emperor. Wow, there's a lot of fire here. Okay. We start off with the Emperor. Then we have the Two of Cups. Love that. Then we have the Six of Wands. Love that. And then we have the Queen of Wands. Okay. This really is about standing up in your relationships. This really is about being recognized amongst the people who love you the most. You don't want to be a dictator. Like the Emperor can be very much of a dictator sometimes and be like, this is the way it's going to be. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Like the Emperor can do that, can be that person. But I feel like with the Two of Cups and the Six of Wands, we are coming into a time of recognition and celebration. Some of you might even meet your match during this very karmic time. I know that sounds really funny. And I know that a lot of people, and even astrologers, are going to look at me and be like, don't tell people that, or like, that's not okay to say. Anytime we make space in our life, anytime, it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. It doesn't matter if it's eclipse season, it doesn't matter. Anytime that we're making space in our life, we are opening ourselves to receive more, right? We're being open to receive more gifts and more of the good stuff coming into our lives. And the Queen of Wands is not someone that takes that stuff lightly. The Queen of Wands is a great manifester. And she's very confident about what she's manifesting. So I feel like this is about you taking charge of and being responsible and accountable for your part within relationships that you have. Let's see. Let's clarify. Emperor. Ooh, I just got a very interesting message about being careful of where you're planting your seeds. We have the 10 of Swords on the bottom of the deck right now. So for some of us, this is a foundation that we're building. We're making room for a new foundation that we're building. I just want to make space. I'm getting a bigger table eventually, hopefully one that's a little shorter, but because I'm so you can see how short I am with my torso. Three of Pentacles on the Emperor. The Three of Pentacles is about building a new foundation. And the Emperor is going to be the one that dictates the way that foundation looks, right? And it's interesting is this eclipse is happening in Libra, but we have a lot of Aries energy here. The Emperor is a representative of Aries. The Queen of Wands, representative of Aries, right? So we have a lot of Aries energy here. So even though the solar eclipse is happening in Libra, and we're removing space in order to create balance in our relationships, a lot of that is focusing on you. Did you know that the way that you create balance in relationships is with yourself first? Very true. The way you create balance in relationships starts with you. I know. And then people say, well, what about the other people? They have to take accountability too. Well, if they are taking accountability of their stuff and they're creating balance within themselves, then they'll also be able to create balanced relationships. So that's what we're doing here. Three of Pentacles, you are building your foundation and you are doing it with vigor. You're doing it with confidence, right? Forging ahead, building the foundation, being honest with yourself on the seeds that you're planting. We have the Page of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles on the Two of Cups. When I was manifesting Henry to come into my life, I didn't only think about the things that I wanted out of a partner. I also thought about all of the things that I didn't want in a partner. I thought about all of the things that from my past that made me feel small and made me feel insignificant when I was in relationships. And I said, this is not what I want. So the Page of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles is asking you to be very honest with yourself about where you're planting your seeds for your relationships. And that doesn't even just have to be romantic. Right? Knight of Pentacles with the Six of Wands. Each one of these cards received a pentacle to clarify, a pentacle card to clarify. And I feel like a lot of that is it's allowing us to see that this is something that's very real that you're planting. This is something that's very like long term that you're wanting to reap what you sow. This is a very long-term effort on what's going on here. And the Knight of Pentacles on the Six of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles is reminding you to not skip the steps. If you want recognition in your existence and from other people, you have to be willing to continue moving forward without skipping steps and being patient about it. That Knight of Pentacles is not rushing into anything, not rushing into recognition, not rushing into a project, not rushing into a relationship, not trying to make things happen. He's just allowing it to unfold. Because when we take the time to be honest with ourselves about what we want to manifest, be honest with ourselves about the kind of foundation that we want to build upon, and we take the time and we have the patience to do it, those things last. That's the Saturnian lesson. And like I said, Saturn is exalted in Libra. So the Saturnian lesson here is to take it slow. There's no rush when it comes to divine timing. And only divine timing can bring people like this together, right? The soulmates. Again, doesn't have to be romantic. Start calling in all sorts of different soulmates and all sorts of different people for love. And I guarantee you that that romantic partner is going to show up too, because I know that that's the one that everybody wants to focus on. We have a lot of partners in life, friends, clients, coworkers, peers. On the Queen of Wands, the very, very confident Queen of Wands, we have the Eight of Swords and the Page of Pentacles. So the Eight of Swords is a self-imposed imprisonment of the mind, and the Page of Pentacles is the student and the beginning of a journey. That Eight of Swords can often breed the Ten of Swords. For some of you, this has nothing to do with a relationship, but it has everything to do with a project and a collaboration in work. Like I said, business partners too, right? And so keeping your eyes open to what it is that is restricting you from moving forward is going to help you get out of that Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Swords, self-imposed imprisonment of the mind, projects the fear that everything is going to fall apart. Ten of Swords, right? Ten of Swords is like the worst possible case scenario that could happen ending wise, right? And a 10 is a completion. And there might be some pretty difficult completions that are happening or cycles that are closing during this time, especially the week as we lead up to it. Like that's why I wanted to do this reading almost a whole week early because the things that are leading up to it are equally as important to pay attention to. These feelings that you have leading up to that Libra solar eclipse is really going to show you what you need to let go of, what you need to process, what you need to review, what you need to give access, and what you don't need to give access to. Being a student on this journey is scary, but you're coming into it as a warrior. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles, which is a very similar energy to the Knight of Pentacles, which is also very Virgo and Venus. Thank you very much. A lot of Pentacles here. For some of you, I feel like, and I mean, I understand because Venus is in Virgo also, but a lot, for a lot of you, the idea of security and the idea of safety comes along with relationships. And I get it. I get that. That's a very Saturnian view sometimes too. The monetary abundance, right? But that Eight of Pentacles, again, at the bottom of the deck, this Eight of Pentacles, the same energy as the Knight of Pentacles. This does not need to be rushed. You do not need to rush anything. You don't need to rush yourself. You don't need to rush anybody else. You don't need to rush the project. You don't need to rush the time. Time is moving fast enough. Things are happening fast enough. If you start to feel yourself restricted and you're going into that worst possible case scenario, accept that situations could be difficult. Accept that there are situations in your life that you no longer need to deal with so that you can move on. Okay? I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. And all of the support that you give is such a blessing. I appreciate it. Bye.